knows what happens next week, but the winner of next week's game here is going to take a lot of momentum into the finals, and probably the reverse for the loser. Such a big game next week here as a derby.
Final term starts with Scott Selwood and Shuey both involved. Half play on the call, and Nick Natanui says, I'm off, I'll take on anyone. And his kick might just get there, as only Nick Natanui can.
Mark of the year.
Tap of the year.
Tap of the year. Point of the year. Fend off of the year right here with Banfield, who's got genuine speed.
It didn't matter that he ran 25 metres, but forget all of that stuff.
Yeah, it was a bit of a floater too, wasn't it?
Good goal from Nick Natanui.
Get away from him.
Nick off.
Magnificent performance. He just floated it through, and a good shepherd from Jack Darling.
Oh, what a star, Nick Natanui. The Eagles lead by 69 now. 28 hit-outs. That's his third of the afternoon. Banfield getting a run on the ball, which is actually good to see. Waters back to Adam Selwood. Measures the pass. Right. You could see that coming a mile off, but Marston refused to yield. Takes the grab, kicks the centre half forward. Backing back, Scott Selwood. But Hams away in the pocket and kicked it to his advantage.
Can't just play a Hams.
Yeah, can take a mark too, can't he?
Really good kick from Selwood to set him up. It's a right hut overhead. He's got lots of talent. Beautiful kick from Scott Selwood coming in. Just weighted it perfectly. And there's the good grab. Despite the attention of the defender, he was still had strong enough hands to swallow it up.
For his first of the afternoon. And that'll do. 2 to start the quarter for West Coast.
Jacko said it.
No signs of stopping. Jono, sorry.
No, Jacko said it at three-quarter time in terms of what John Worsfold was asking. And that was a fast start, but this is the fast start they were after. Nick Natanui, Jared.
Now let's just count the mowing strips. Each mowing strip is 5 metres. You can see them clearly there on the wide shot. Natanui comes into screen, he takes it there. 1,
10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It's fantastic.
6 mowing strips from the time he picked up the ball after the other bounce. I think the umpire was relatively generous letting him go.
It's the Nick Natanui clause, Jared.
It is, and let it live on.
Down to Shuey again. Lions have a couple back. McGinnity. Here's another scrambling for a position in this team. A little bit of nastiness there. Hancock has words with McGinnity.
And we've got a freshly minted Glenn Jankovic medal that needs to be presented at the end of the game. Hutto, who would you have in mind at this stage?
Who would I have in mind?
Yes. I don't want you to influence the judges, but who would you have in mind?
Think about that for a moment, Jared, as the play goes on.
I thought you'd have to think too, huh?
They've got to consider other options. Can't all just go to Nick Nat.
I can tell you already. I'm going to Nick Nat, that's it.
Bo Waters, 24 disposals.
You have to be close, Bo Waters.
Gaff, 27, been good. No joy for him. Shuey, 19 disposals. A goal, he's been quite devastating. Hudson takes it back over the line and out of bounds.
Jacko gave the medal to anybody other than the big ruckman, he'd be lynched, and that's saying something because he's the king.
11 disposals for Nick Natanui. He doesn't appear on that top 5 list. 9 of them contested, though. The 30-odd ruck hit-outs. Here's a big long kick towards the square as well. Cox couldn't take it. Sat for Hill. Not a bad place to be in that West Coast forward line right now.
Well, it's turned into a good old-fashioned drubbing, this one. I think they've kept their competitiveness up to a large degree, the Brisbane Lions, or at least their effort. But in the finish, talent has just weighed heavily on them. And they're getting a nice old spanking here. And Josh Hill doing a really good job just reading the ball. That's all you got to do as a small forward, outside of putting the pressure on your tackles, etc. If you can get you 2 or 3 goals, then you're going to keep your spot.
4 goals now for Josh Hill in this game of footy. Good return from injury, the hamstring injury. But he went to the front of the contest. His direct opponent, Patfull, went for the marking contest. Someone like Josh Hill loves that to capitalise.
Here's Shuey again. More grand plans for the Eagles. Low ball to Hams. And it is all one-way traffic for West Coast at the moment. Cox leads into the pocket. Darling's another option. Or he might think, I can go all the way. It's only 50 metres, hey? That's not bad. There's another one. Rack him up and knock him down.
5 inside 50s in the first 5.5 minutes of play in the last quarter for 4 goals to the West Coast Eagles. 0 inside 50s to the Brisbane Lions, just not getting their hands on it. Only touched the ball twice in this quarter, the Brisbane Lions. Once to Hudson, 1 disposal to Banfield. That is all. That's 0% effectiveness, those 2 disposals as well. So there's plenty of work to do.
Rubbing it in, Jono.
I don't think you had to mention the effectiveness, John. I think you've made your point.
That was saying as it is.
Back in the middle again, and the Natanui show continues with a lovely tap to Marston, to Pritis. They've got runners out wide. They have had all day. Under pressure, McGinnity kept it moving.
He was taken high, I think, but there are some times where you just got to not take the football, and that was a case in point there for McGinnity. Just the tap on would have been better. He was lucky to get away with a high free kick.
Back in the middle to Beau Waters. Runs the natural arc, and then off the left. Finds Selwood. Adam Selwood waits. He's dished it back, but he decides he can go for home too. Darling almost. Hams wants his 3rd. He's got it. I reckon he has. This is amazing. It's a procession at the moment. That is 5 goals in 7 minutes.
Well, it is getting to the embarrassing stage now, and this is what we suspected may happen middle way through that 3rd quarter, but the Brisbane Lions wouldn't yield. And yet all of a sudden, just after the 3/4 time siren, they have not been able to be competitive at all. And this is magnificent stuff, which will be sticking in the craw of that man.
3 goals from 3 kicks for the quarter. 21 disposals to 2, Jono. This term, 5 goals for West Coast. Takes the margin out to 93 points now.
And Quentin Lynch comes into the ruck. Let's see if that can help them.
It's almost a throw. It was Black at his brilliant best by hand, though, to Rain. So they do venture forward. Then gathering dust up there, the Brisbane forwards in this quarter. It's over the line and out of bounds.
Not much that Michael Voss can do now, but grin and bear it. It's going to be a long road for the Brisbane Lions back. Got a couple of senior players coming back next year, Staker and Leuenberger. With this goal,
to Zorko.
They get a little bit of relief.
They do get relief. It comes from a stoppage, though, again, and it has been highlighted over the last couple of weeks. West Coast leaking goals in the stoppage situation, and a lot have been like that, where the opposition have been able to get them out the back to a small forward or a midfielder, wrapping around and getting a snap on goal. So it's something they just need to continue to concentrate on, the West Coast Eagles, because against the better sides, they'll get hurt quite poorly.
There's Dane Zorko, 9 disposals. He's had a really good year. Hasn't had a great game, much better in the second half, but that was a fine goal. And maybe, Jono, they're just so used to their ruckman winning the tap that even when they're in the defensive positions, they've got to become much more neutral than they are.
When you're so far in front, though, you just try and be on the positive side of things rather than worry about the defensive side.
Rosa goes for Darling. Oh. Thrush there, so advantage paid. Hearn. Like showing peace from there, isn't it, for Shannon Hearn? just pops it through from 55. Effortless. And that's 6 for the quarter for the West Coast. And we've still got 15 minutes and 24 seconds to go. How many goals are they going to kick for the quarter? That is the question. What are you going with, Jono?
At this rate, they'll get 10.
10?
No question.
Only 10?
Well, 10 plus, but 10's pretty good, I would have thought.
Well, they've got 6 already.
Yeah, but
How many for the quarter?
The way it flows, I'll get 10 for the quarter.
Okay.
I'm going for 13. How many are you going for, Hutto?
So a mini sweep here. How many goals will West Coast kick for the quarter? Jono, you just think 10? 10. And Jared?
I'm going for Hudson. 13.
You idiot. Out of the middle, McGinnity. Now to Lynch. Waters.
Umpire needed to get out of the way. What a kick.
Was scorching. In the end, he couldn't handle it, but Gaff can. And he can rack up another. This for 7. Chalk it up, Jono. You might have to change your number very soon.
Well, Hutto, you haven't put your own credibility on the line. How many for Anthony Hudson?
12 for me, Jared. Just a tactical choice there.
Nice work. Well, I was just wondering whether Gaff should have balked around here. Jono, you're the man who used to be the assassin inside forward 50. Nice little bit of work here from Gaff. He comes up now, he's got the bloke here. He could have gone around him.
Yeah, right footer definitely would have tried to step on that occasion, had McGinnity inside for a handball release. Goal kickers now, Hutto, for the West Coast Eagles.
And it's more than just
Huge
a party.
spread.
This is huge percentage gains. We'll check it in a moment. They reached 24 goals, 7 goals in 11 minutes for the West Coast. Yo, outside to the wing. Some minor relief as Chris, but even the perceived pressure. And that is way out into the crowd, having an effect. Now right on the back foot, Hearn. Is that live ladder? They've gone from 124 to 131 today.
And all of a sudden, they've got Adelaide in their sights. Adelaide just made rue their missed opportunity yesterday with Geelong. I know it was at home, but a couple of players down. That was a poor effort.
Butler to Selwood. Scott Selwood sends it inside 50, and Hill from the side, almost. Prittis, Hill still there, bubbling away in the pocket. Had a quick glance into the square. McKeever, and it's out of bounds.
Yeah, Jack Darling hands down in frustration. They need it up in the air, is what they're saying to Josh Hill.
It's back into play now. It's there for Nick Natanui. Forges a little path through. And he lets his team down badly there.
Dragging.
Out on the full.
Try working this one out. You've got Lynch, Cox on the mark, so you have to kick the ball relatively high. And you've got Natanui just getting into position.
Inside 50. Can Natanui again? Calm down a bit, Marston. Into full forward, Darling backs back, no pressure, no worries for West Coast. It's a bit of a disaster, this, for the Lions. And they've kicked 7 goals from 11 entries so far, and this, you would imagine, would be 8 for the quarter.
Well, it's more than a disaster, Hutto, when you look across the stats. For this quarter, been absolutely blown off the park.
And that'll do. Darling pops it through for another.
Well, we don't have to worry too much about the analysis. Let's just sit back and enjoy the West Coast Eagles getting back to their very best form. Sat next to a elderly gentleman today as a West Coast Eagles supporter. And I asked him why he was coming across. He said, well, I haven't seen a bloke like Nick Natanui ever. And he's an Eagles supporter, but he wanted to come and see him live. Well, he's picked a good day to do it.
That was actually Jared just talking to himself on the plane today, because you love the man.
8 goals in 14 minutes for the West Coast. It's not so much how many minutes have gone in the quarter, it's how long there is to go. Redden. Hudson. Touch too high. He's quick to move it on. Redden angles the kick. There's Eagles everywhere back there.
Push
Oh,
out.
a little shove. Unnecessary shove, too.
Well, there's a fight.
Frida Hawksley. Oh, it is on, too,
It's
isn't
on
it?
in the middle of the ground, middle of 50.
There it is. I want to be careful here, the West Coast players. What started that, Jono?
Not too sure, just Simon Black and Selwood were on the ground. Not sure what started it.
Meantime, back at the game, Brisbane have kicked their second from Hawksley. So 10 goals for the quarter. We're not even at the halfway stage yet.
There they are, grappling at the top of screen. You did see that, and then that just turned into a bit of a wrestle.
Well, the Brisbane Lions are trying to look for motivation. Maybe they'll look up at the scoreboard and say, let's try and keep it under 100 points. There's nothing else really to motivate them at this stage.
.99 points then.
Simon Black's already in. So Simon Black's the ruckman.
Oh, Simon Black is the ruckman.
This is Nick Nat. Good luck.
And he didn't do a bad job. That's a good tactic. Merritt got the footy, but there's no exit for them just yet. And the relentless pressure. Great. I thought that was a fantastic tackle from Nick Natanui. How is that a free kick? Anyway, I saw something he didn't like against Natanui. Rains kicks it to the wing. I haven't seen that before, Jono, that ruck situation where the umpire tells that he has to be the ruckman.
There's got to be licence, doesn't there, for in that situation for the ruckman to be able to step inside and the midfielder step out of a ruck contest.
Well, there must be a certain point in time where you're not allowed to step out, so you can't interchange ruckman. I'm sure Simon Black would agree with you, Jono. He would have looked up and said, Natanui, I'm going against him.
Well, especially with Merritt standing 1 metre away from him.
Now, Luke Shuey learned there that he's no Nick Natanui. Couldn't quite get the same leap going. He's a pretty fair player in his own right, though. So we haven't had a goal for at least a minute and a half. That might be about to change if Jonathan Brown can get the run of the ball, but not to be.
How many are you up to, Hutto?
10 for the quarter, 8 for West Coast. The Lions attacking here. Brown, the ruck, Lynch fell over. Brown grabs it, turns on the left, and the footy finds its own path over the line and out of bounds. Let's have another look at this ruck contest.
Simon Black, renowned ruckman, up against.
He did well. He just stood in the path, didn't he?
The thing
That's
I
all
liked
he had
most
to do.
about though was the follow-up smother.
Of course you did, Jared.
Thank you.
Class. Rockcliffe. No. 25 goals, 6. It's a big score for West Coast. Hasn't there been some big beltings in the competition? I think it's an issue for the AFL. I mean, we know a lot of it's to do with the 17th and 18th team, but as the season's gone on, it's not just GWS and Gold Coast getting smashings, is it?
That's a great torpedo. I don't think anybody saw Melbourne's poor form coming as badly as it has, and the Western Bulldogs have just fallen away to be non-competitive at the moment, and they are in an embarrassing run of outs at the present time, and well, Melbourne's story is well known.
Well, both those sides were being talked about, along with North Melbourne and Fremantle and Richmond, to be fighting out for that 8th position on the ladder. You look at the big talk from Hearn.
Now, Hudson.
I'm sure the discussion about how long the season goes will evolve during the week.
Oh, Brown, that did not look good. Hopefully he's okay.
I'm not happy
he's
about
up.
it, the players.
He's up, thank goodness for that. Been a little bit of feeling out there. What do you think of that, Jared?
Well, I'm sure Darren Glass would like to take it back, and I think John Worsfold will be worried until he gets the all clear on the weekend, because he's come in late and he's hit him high. He's in trouble.
I agree with Jared, coming in late, not in the marking contest, and in the end turned his shoulder to protect himself, but hit Jonathan Brown in the head.
Got 50 as well. So this game has had its casualties already, and there may be another as Brown puts it through. Good thing is he looks okay, Jonathan Brown. My first concern was... You have to be responsible for your actions. I mean, I don't think the intent...
No, it's going to be very similar to the Scott Thompson one. He ran back, and then, as you said, trying to protect himself, he has taken out Brown.
Margin back to 92. So draw a bit of a laugh, but I'm sure it will be for Darren Glass and the Eagles during the week. Hudson as combative as ever. Now, who are the crowd booing out there?
Are they booing Jonathan Brown? Surely not.
You can't boo Jonathan Brown. All he did was get his head hit. Polkinghorne stripped of it quickly, and the Eagles need to spring back into action here. Concentrate on the footy, and they're going to. McGinnity to Shepherd. Got Gaff running with him. He's still an option. Uses it. Driving kick again. Cox just knew where the footy was coming. Plucky stuff, McKeever. Kept at it. Now, it's going to appeal for holding the ball, but in the end, it'll have to be a ball up, I suspect. So we've reached the halfway stage of this last quarter.
So time for Jacko to give us his ins and outs.
No doubt.
Jacko, you've got a couple of fit players coming back.
I'll go with Andrew Embley first. Plays on that wing, pushes forward. The obvious absentee there would be Patrick McGinnity to go out.
Prentice, there's a whistle here. I just mentioned we've reached the halfway point of the quarter. We are at the 22-minute mark. We're on track for about a 40-minute quarter here.
Well, 8 straight. They've kicked going for number 9 for the quarter. Ham's going for his 4th of the quarter.
It's almost like Christmas in July for Hams, isn't it, really?
Nice and tasty.
It's been a long quarter.
He's on the way. This is for number 4 for the match and 4 for the quarter.
Ooh. So Josh Kennedy is available. Jacko, this one will test you a bit more because he does change the structure of the side around a fair degree.
He certainly does. Brad Shepherd has had a fantastic 11 weeks into the season and become a goal kicker. Josh Hill, look, I'd keep him in there because he does kick 2 or 3 on average, and he's pretty hard to match up. But John Morside's got a headache.
Do you think that Josh Kennedy will have enough in the legs if he's only just become done running the last couple of weeks?
Well, he's saying 3 weeks' time. The first one would be probably back at Esher Manor, you would think. So
at least.
So it's going to be a race against time for Josh Kennedy.
Lynch pops it up into the pocket. Cox delayed the give to Gaff. Darling possibly infringed. Umpire didn't spy it that way. Put his resultant kick. He's across the line on the full.
What about Kobe Stevens? Any chance that he may force his way back in?
Every chance, Jared. He had a very good game for Esher on the waffle yesterday, so they continue to put pressure up. Brad Dick had another good game for his respective side, so John Morside's got, and it's always good leading into the finals when you're 23rd, 4th, 5th and 6th player, certainly putting pressure on the current group.
Skipper. Well, the umpire making him go back on his mark. A little pedantic at this time of the day, I would have thought. But, got the angle right now.
Well, Worsfolder's got his squad of 30 leading into the finals, and that's what he liked. That's what the coaches like, to have their 30 players that they've been able to give some game time to throughout the season. That if someone does drop out of the side, then they've got the replacement there ready, or competition for spots becomes high, which then creates good form leading in to a final series.
Hopefully West Coast aren't going to practice possession footy for the closing stages of the quarter. They'll look up and see that it's 25 minutes gone. There's still another 8 to go. Selwood. Work it around some more. Darling looks likely.
Much better there, Darling. Ball out in the hands. He can do it. And he can go back and slot this one as well.
So Darling has just kicked the one in this quarter. The flurry of 8 goals so far for the West Coast. Distance shouldn't be an issue for him. It's not. Look at that. It's a monster kick. He judged the win to perfection. Absolutely flawless.
It's been a brilliant quarter by the Eagles. Near on perfect. They're running at 81% efficiency. The Eagles up 6% on their game average. The pressure from the opposition has been poor, to say the least. They've just run out of juice and run out of mental energy. Patfull's had a good battle with Jack Darling, but Darling's got hold of him a couple of times in this quarter. And he's a bit stiff because there are a few players in the AFL that can go back and monster a ball like that from that far out.
Just mark down next week's derby in your diary wherever you are. Make sure you're watching. It's going to be a big, big game with big consequences too for West Coast or Fremantle, whether they win or lose in the run to September. 99 points the margin. That's 9 for the quarter, Jono. 10, I think, was your estimate.
It was 12 from yourself and 13 from Jared.
Can they make the 8, you reckon, Hutto, if the Dockers lose next week? They've got 10 wins.
There's West Coast next 4. They've got Freo and then Geelong, as Jacko said, a big couple of weeks ahead. Then Port over at Amy, then Collingwood here. So this joint's going to be rocking in the next few weeks. Spoil there from Wrigley. Sets it for Adcock. Now Brown tries to go by hand again. Paucity of options further. Umpire lets that handball pass. Brown again gets busy. Get a keepings off here. Leicester back onto the right. Shaped the kick nicely. Polkinghorne feeds it off for Zorko. Interesting kick to the top of the square. Merritt the target. Merritt drags it down. So the Lions have kicked 3 of their own and probably chalk up a 4th here for the term. Still 6 minutes on the clock.
Well, Merritt did spend a little bit of time in defence when Maguire went off the ground, subbed out with an ankle injury. He's been pushed forward again. Has to push forward because he is the second ruckman for the Lions.
He eases into this one. Goal umpire. Just moves back a little and then gives it the all clear for another goal.
Well, at least they're continuing to fight and to run here, the Brisbane Lions.
They've kicked straight today, at least.
This bloke has been impressive late in the game. Second half, they've kicked straight. There had to be some positives for them. It was always going to be difficult coming over here with the Eagles desperate to atone for a couple of poor performances in a row. And sadly for the Brisbane Lions, whose form wasn't great coming in, despite the victory last week, have been giving a nice old flogging.
Dananu's just eased onto the ground, Jared. I just wonder whether there's one more for us.
I think there might be, Hutto. They need him to get deep in the goal square, though, so they can put it on his head.
Prittis takes it out wide to half forward. And, a bit of holding on Hill. Umpire didn't see it. Darling charges out of the square, gives it to Nick Natanui. How about that? All elements of the game on show for you this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Selwood puts on the finishing touches.
Well, Jared, there he is, your boy.
Wasn't what I had in mind, Jared.
But it was unpredictable, Hutto. He does things that other people don't do. Now, no one saw this coming. And he won't get a stat for it, and people will say he doesn't get enough of the footy. But his impact on the game has been enormous.
That is 10 for the quarter, Jono. For the term, and once again the lead is out to 99 points for the West Coast Eagles. Nananui back in the ruck. The Eagles chant goes out around Patterson Stadium. Let's check that live ladder one more time. The percentage up over the 130. They've conceded a few more points probably than they would have liked to be totally honest, but I think they'll take a 100-odd point victory into the 50 adventures. Butler maybe a little too cute there. Black's able to curl that one back from behind only.
Well, Shannon Hearn, no Waters takes it. Quick play out of full-back.
Keep going, Jono.
I thought Shannon Hearn was going to take the big barrel again from full-back.
Now to Schofield. Prentice is there for him 20 metres further afield, but instead it's Butler. Oh, Cox has just been able to sneak away. Had to come all the way up to 55, which means he can set up for one more big play deep. Lynch is the hard lead. He can go back again and try and get it beyond the century.
Well, we know one thing, he'll make the distance.
Days prefers to leave the glove on. This takes away a little bit of theatre for the crowd. Just the one goal. In fact, he kicked the first goal of the day from memory. He's been in there contributing. It's a big score, this, from the West Coast. No 11th goal for the quarter just yet. 3 minutes 42 on the clock. Off hands, so it's a throw in. Cox trying to go solo. Merritt protesting that he grabbed it out of the ruck, I think. Yeah, the case. I think begs to differ. Swift restart now. Running onto Apprentice. McGinnity stole a march, stole a footy, and almost for Hill. Running that fine line. 3 minutes to go in the quarter, John. 98 points the difference. Lynch, Cox, Zorko. Back to the wing, Brown with a run-up. Balls for McKenzie. Bo Waters. Something off the kick. Oh, Merritt. It's right in the lead, but this time of night.
Jacko, how many goals do you think it's worth when you've got the home crowd in the derbies? Because it's Fremantle's home crowd next week. They play the Crows the following week. They've got to win next week really to keep their ambitions alive against the Eagles. Yeah,
they certainly do. They just got to make a real traditional dogfight. It'll be interesting to see Ross Lyon's defensive style of play. Can they stop this onslaught of the Eagles today of 27 goals and 34 shots at goal? So interesting next week, but 3 to 4 goal always an advantage, home crowd.
Aston tried to poke it through, couldn't. Waters slapping it out. Saw the Butler. It's trying to get away there, but Buick with the run of the footy. Crisp came over the top. Hearn tried to reverse out of there. Black paddling it. Rockcliffe, boundary line.
And all eyes are going to be on the tribunal with Darren Glass. Clearly going to have a case to answer, I would have thought. They've got such big games coming up. He can ill afford to lose a bloke who is clearly one of the best fullbacks in the game.
Is McKenzie the man for Pavlich? I mean, he usually plays on the best forward.
He probably would have been. But Glass has just been such a star. I mean, he'd be right up there with all Australian calculations once again. They've got the Cats the following week.
Inventive kick from Rosa. Gives them another opportunity. And Darling says thank you very much. This is for number 11 for the quarter.
It's a massive quarter.
It is, isn't it?
That's huge. To finish up the game like this, is just enormous.
18 inside 50s.
18 inside 50s in the quarter, 68 for the game, only 34 to the Lions.
Darling going for his 5th here. Already Josh Hill has 4 goals. Natanui, Hams has 3. He does the business. Jack Darling is a young star and they've got plenty of them.
Yeah, it's a point not lost on recruiting staff around the country, Hutto.
Yeah.
They have been able to pick out some absolute guns to regenerate this club. In the goal square, you got Jack Darling. In the middle of the ground, you got Nat Nui and you got Shuey.
Yep.
You got Rosa, who's still got lots of time to go, and they've been
Gaff
able to
out
be
on the wing.
really good selection with Gaff. They were looking for an elite runner, and they've got one.
Matt Rosa just in the hands of the trainers. Just a neck problem. They were just doing some manipulation of his neck, so hopefully he'll be okay.
Well, that generally happens, Jacko, when you're sitting on a wing watching the ball go over your head for goals. He's got a Rick and Rye neck. It'll be okay.
Fruitus out to the wing. Blind-eyed handball. Buick wades his way through this. 45 seconds on the clock. Time for one more. Perhaps from Brisbane. Polkinghorn for Jonathan Brown. And he'll go back and have the shot. Brown's day has included a couple of goals, 18 disposals, so he certainly has worked hard. He's had to cover a lot of real estate, though.
He has worked hard, Jonathan Brown, and with only 35 inside 50s for the Lions, he has had to get far and wide for his disposals today, but finishes with 3 goals. We'll give him a tip.
And the siren not far away. This to keep it under 100 points. And he's put it through. So the siren sounds. The West Coast Eagles have crushed the Brisbane Lions to the tune of 98 points. Don't forget about the Eagles when it comes to your premiership calculations. Just a little reminder for all and sundry today at Patterson Stadium. They have some devastating weapons and they were pretty much all on display for you today. Final score 28-7, 175 to Brisbane, 12-5-77. Nick Natanui, 3 wonderful goals and some terrific highlights for us to all enjoy.